NE10 Now, the podcast, is talking, I guess, distance sports today because we are going across a handful of different teams in Springfield, Massachusetts at AIC with Lillie Kaempfe, all conference and cross country, obviously runs indoor track, outdoor track, but also on the triathlon team, which is not something we see, especially in the NE10, but also really across the landscape of college athletics. Lillie, first off, welcome and congrats on the season thus far.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Tell me what it takes to be I guess from a triathlon standpoint, like an ultra distance athlete.
Well, before I moved up to Massachusetts, I'm originally from Missouri, where I ran D1 for Missouri State University for their cross country and track teams. So really I only had like experience with distance running. And even then it wasn't longer distance. It was more like a mid distance kind of running. And so then whenever I was looking into schools, especially at AIC, the triathlon coach and I got in contact with each other, and he kind of was like, well, can you ride a bike? And I was like, yeah, I can ride a bike. And he was like, well, can you swim? And I was like, I can doggy paddle. I was like, sure, like, yeah, I can swim. And he was like, well, like based on your like running times, I think like that we could probably get you into shape to be like a triathlete. And so I thought that was really interesting. I never really thought about it before. And so I took into like some consideration, but I wasn't really ready to like let go of like cross country or track. And so I was like, okay, let's try it. So really it took a lot of practice and patience, especially because with the bike itself, you have to clip into the bike in order to like ride. And so I think it was like the first or second practice, the captain and the co-captain, Ali Drexler and Liz Winberg, they both were showing me like how to get on the bike and clip in. And I remember the first practice, Liz was holding my front tire as I'm like shaking like a baby like on this bike, like as if I've never rode a bike before, because once you can't like move your feet immediately to catch yourself, it's like I'm gonna fall, like no matter what, like I'm gonna fall right now. And so she's like dragging me forward like on this bike as I'm trying to like keep my balance while being clipped in, and learning how to like quickly like unclip in case you like lose your balance and start to fall. So I think that was definitely something that was like new to like learn. And then learning how to like actually swim. That was interesting. Learning how to like not take a breath like every stroke that you take, or learning how to like use bilateral breathing to help like with your swim technique there. um Learning to go like very long distances without like having a break, or not to have a wall to push off of, especially in open water swimming, is which is what we like compete in. We do practices like in a pool, but whenever it becomes like open water swim, like you have to just stay consistent the entire time. You don't get to push off of a wall and suddenly get like a little bit of little quicker, a little burst of energy there. You kind of just have to keep trucking along and hope for the best. I was doing cross country and triathlon in the fall. So my schedule typically looked like I would get up and I would either go straight to either triathlon practice, which was swim, or I would go and run. So sometimes on like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something like that, it was we would meet at the Boys and Girls Club. We would swim from 6:15 until 7:15. I would get out of the water, I would change, and then I would drive over to the track and I would do like a 5 mile run. Um, and with the cross country team then, or on specific days, I would do a cross country workout in the morning where it would be like 5, 6, 7, sometimes even 8 miles, and then go to lift with the team. And then in the afternoons, I would go back to triathlon practice where we would do a 10, 12 mile bike ride and then do a 2 mile run after that. So then it was some pretty long days.
I was gonna say, how did you keep going? How
Oh
do you keep
wow.
going?
um, Sleep and eating and having people to like rely on as well. That was really important.
How have you taken to the swim part and the bike part? Like, has it been something where you've gravitated towards it now, and it's like, hey, like I kind of dig this.
Yeah, actually. So I really wanted to try triathlon just because I was starting to like really struggle with loving like running just by itself. And so I was like, like maybe if I have this like cross training aspect where there isn't so much pressure simply on running, that I can learn to enjoy it again. And that definitely really helped because some days I would just really look forward to like getting a chance to like bike with the team and just feeling so strong and exercising different muscles, or even like swimming, just doing something else to keep my mind like occupied to where I also felt strong in these different things where really what it comes down to is like you're relying on like your own mental strength in order to get you through these workouts and to get you through the races.
Was that one of the things that attracted you to AIC as well? Was the opportunity to let me go be a
Yeah.
triathlete? Because being a grad student and transferring um, and having different opportunities, was that one of those carrots that you looked at and said, well, that's not a team that exists everywhere?
Yes, actually. So, and I think it's so funny because I'm from Missouri State University, which is in Springfield. Like right up the street
I didn't
is
even
like,
connect those dots. Yeah.
it's like right up the street is Drury University. And they had a triathlon team there, but I had just like never like heard really of like triathlons, or like I had like heard of them, but I never like pictured myself as like being like a triathlete. And I think definitely the first thing that I looked for was the graduate program itself. I was like, I'm going to go get my master's. I need to really focus. But then on the other hand, I was like, I graduated early. So I have these 2 years of eligibility left and I don't want them to go to waste. What can I do? And then it just worked out in a way to where I can do all the things that I would really like within this next year and a half. And then it's like a pretty little bow. I graduate and all my eligibility will be done and used, and I was a college athlete and I tried new things. So
What's it like being on a triathlon team? How much do you guys push each other as you go through different modalities and obviously what's a really long race?
so much. I have learned so much from Ali Drexler, Liz Winberg, Jill and Gigi themselves, like just an insane amount. And the way that they have pushed me, especially as a teammate, their strengths are in the areas where I'm not as strong. And so that I can rely on them, they understand the gear, they understand the flow of how the races go, they understand all the gear that is necessary whenever you're preparing to leave. They know what the schedules look like. They know how it feels to have completed these races. And so I just have such an immense amount of respect for them and just admire them so much for everything that they were able to teach me and how I've been able to apply it to like my own races.
I want to talk about the grad program that brought you to AIC as well, because you graduated with a bachelor's in
Psychology, yeah.
psychology, and then your master's is in forensic psychology.
Yes.
Um, Face value sounds cool. Um, Tell me a little bit about what you're studying at AIC and what piques your interest there.
So, what I really liked about AIC was that they presented an in-person forensic psychology program. And so I'm from the Midwest, and because of that, there are like no in-person forensic psychology programs. They're all either on the West Coast in California or they're all on the East Coast, and a majority of them are over here. So, a majority of the schools that I did look at were like on the East Coast. And what I really liked about AIC was that they presented both the aspects of being able to be on a team and working within the program itself, and that they had a schedule set up to where it was both going to work with students who also wanted to work at the same time. So within forensic psychology itself, I really would like to work with behavioral health children. Before I moved up here, I worked full time at a residential youth center with kids who had behavioral health needs. So I worked like full time with them and was like their full time staff. And what I really learned from that was that I really loved working with kids who had like those needs. And
While you were an undergrad and a college athlete too, right?
Yes, well, I did take like a small like break. So I graduated early and then I got a graduate certificate in child forensic psychology and then I worked full time. So then I like took like 6 months where I just worked and then I moved up here. So it's kind of a little bit of a piecing it all together.
And you're still doing some work in Springfield too. You're a therapeutic mentor, right?
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah,
What's
I
that
work
mean?
for CSI. So a therapeutic mentor talks specifically with the therapists that these behavioral health children are working with. And the goals are for them to have their lesson plans, their assessed needs, and interventions with people that they can trust to help them meet all of their goals. That way, they know that they have people that they can rely on and that they have someone rooting for them to help push them to their goals for these healthy societal interactions. And what I really love about it is seeing their growth each week and seeing how, whenever I write up all of the notes that I provide for them, that they can also see and their families can see where they're improving and where they need more improvement.
What lights you up about that whole process?
Oh, oh, I just know that sometimes whenever you're a kid and you just kind of feel just alone and you're just like changing, things are changing, your friends are leaving, you have new friends, you know, are struggling in school, whatever it may be, that having one person who is consistent within your life can mean the world. Someone that you can go to and you can show them all of the bad everything, and just try to push them away as much as you can, but they're still going to be there for you. And they're still going to show you, like, no matter what you do, I'm going to be here and we're going to work through this together. I think watching them make that connection and have it click is so important, especially whenever you finally see it click within them. It's just kind of like, yes, like you understand, like I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm going to be here for you no matter what. And so that means a lot to me.
Two-way question here. How much of what you've done in the classroom has helped make you a better athlete? And how much of being a student athlete, particularly in so many different sports, so many different teams, how much has that translated to your ability to do that kind of work?
I would definitely say that it has helped with my communication. It has helped me recognize my own strengths and weaknesses. And it has also helped me become a potential like strong person for my teammates to rely on whenever they need me. I think that because of what I have learned within my education, that it makes me an individual who can be safe and who can advocate well for others. So how sports help the classroom? I think that they definitely help in helping me manage my own stress, and having that outlet in order to really like keep myself grounded, especially whenever it becomes more consistent. um I think having that healthy outlet in order to like really take the time and anything negative, anything positive, just to like feel and just to like work really hard and be proud of yourself after, to then go and just be like, okay, now I can like focus on what I like need to study and do.
Well, Lillie, it's admirable for you to take on a brand new sport, to do it in a brand new place and do all of the things that you're doing in and outside the classroom as well. So kudos on all of that and excited to watch how it develops for you over the next year plus.
Thank you. I appreciate it.